what is money wounds? So money wounds is actually the wounds, the subconscious wounds that you have concerning money or regarding money that is controlling your behavior with money. So there are three types of money wound, as you may know from my work. There is the receiver money wound. So this is somebody who has a wound around receiving, right? Somebody who cannot receive money or who cannot allow themselves to receive money, not because they don't want to, but because subconsciously they have patterns, they have paradigms, and they have emotional blocks that are actually holding them back from receiving. And the second one is the holder's wound. So the holder is the person who cannot actually hold money. So the holder is, you receive the money, you can manifest the money, but then immediately it's like it just goes away. Like there's just this thing where you just have to always be empty, right? So money always has to come, but then it has to leave. So that's the holder's wound. And the third wound is the hoarder wound. So the hoarder is the person who holds the money, right? They grip on the money, they cannot let go of the money. And then it's because there's a subconscious fear that if maybe they let go of the money is not going to come back, or they are going to feel unsafe if they don't have the money. So these three wounds are actually the wounds that determined the relationship with money, right? So I want you to realize the name is not literally, is identifying the kind of wound. So receiver is someone who has problem with receiving. Holder is the someone who has problem with holding. Hoarder is the person who has the problem with using or exchanging or actually giving and putting money to use, right? So for the first three wounds, right? For these three wounds, these are behavior towards money again, and these behaviors are as a result of subconscious patterns or programs or paradigm that we hold around money, and then emotional blocks, which are like an emotional response to block us or to allow us or to permit us to actually use money. So the first thing I want you to realize is and identify which of the money wounds that you currently hold. Which do you feel like, okay, this sounds like me? So you are the receiver, because like awareness is the first step of change and is the first step of transformation. Identify what type of wound do I have and how deep is this wound, right? So two questions: what type of money wound do I have and how deep is this wound? So you can have more than one. You don't have to have only one. You can have one, you can have two, and you can also have three. And each of these wounds is actually as a result of our attachment towards money. It's a reflection of our attachment towards money. And this attachment goes back to actually our childhood attachment styles. So if you have read or you know about attachment styles, you know that we have primarily like three unhealthy attachment style and one healthy attachment style. So the attachment style is the way that we were attached to our parents or our guardians where we are growing up, right? So we have the anxious attachment style. So the anxious attachment style is the style where when someone leaves you, right, you are always anxious and that's because there's this fear that you're going to be abandoned, you're going to be left, right? And the second one is the avoidant attachment. So this is somebody who avoids, oh my God, something. So this is someone who avoids anything to do with the thing because they just don't want to put themselves in a vulnerable place where they are going to be rejected or abandoned, right? And then the third one is a mixture of both. Like you're avoidant sometimes and you're attached sometimes. So with the avoidant person, their core money wound is going to be the hoarder. This is somebody who is going to receive money, but they are going to actually they are going to avoid wanting to use the money because there's a fear of if I use the money, it's not going to come back, or I only feel safe when I have the money in my bank account, right? So that's the first. And the someone with avoidant attachment style also is going to have the receiver wound. That is, they're going to avoid receiving. Like they just want to avoid receiving. So subconsciously, they're going to push away money from coming because they're like, no, I don't want it because if it comes, I have this fear that it's going to leave, So with the avoidance, when you understand your avoidance attachment style or your attachment style, and you see how it's actually where your wound from or around money, your behavior around money comes from, it's so liberating, right? So that's the first thing you want to understand. For someone who has an anxious attachment style, the person's number one core wound is going to be holding. They are not going to be able to hold money, because when the money comes, there's going to be this anxiety to just, like when the money is there, they feel like they are not safe having money around. It actually triggers their nervous system to go in that anxious mood. So because they are in the anxious mood, they will rationally just want to make like use of the money. And even when there's no problem, right? Even when you don't have a problem in your life, what you will notice is that you just manifest a problem to use that money. Because there's a part of you that is like, no, we are not safe having money, right? Your nervous system is like, we are not safe having money. So that is the second one. Now the third one, which is the avoidant and the anxious, somebody who has avoidant and anxious tendencies, this person is actually gonna also have issues receiving, right? Like they will have issues like, okay, I can't charge higher. I can't let people pay me this amount, because there's this thing of like feeling like I'm not good enough. So it's more of a worthiness issue here, right? It's more of I am not worthy to receive. I am not worthy. I am not good enough to receive. I am not lovable enough to receive. I am not enough in one way to receive. So this person's your identity is grounded around lack, right? So I want you to first of all identify what is my wound. And from your wound, you're going to know, okay, what is my attachment style? Because your attachment to money is what is creating the relationship or the result that you currently have with money, right? So what is my money wound? Again, I've listed to you the ways that you can realize and you can decide. And when you decide, you're going to realize, okay, this is happening because of this. So subconsciously, this is this attachment. So what you want to understand is that we are in a relationship with money. Yeah, you are in a relationship with money, and money is in the energetic realm, right? It's energy. And everything that is energy has life in it, and it's a being. So money is actually a being and an entity on its own that has life on its own, right? And because money is a being and an entity, we are in relationship with it. You are in a relationship with money, and your relationship with money is a reflection of the relationship that you had growing up, right? So for example, for a girl child also, so this is really like deep part into the money wound. For a girl child, your relationship with money is going to be reflecting on your relationship with your dad, how your father figure was when you were growing up. Why? Because to the feminine, money represents safety, it represents structure, it represents the masculine figure, right? Why to the man, money is also going to represent the feminine figure. And at times also it does represent the masculine figure, but generally everything has masculine and feminine. But money to most people represent the masculine figure. So it represents structure, it represents freedom, it represents abundance, safety, and all of that. And all of that is the masculine thing. Yeah, hope you are following. Okay, so because this is what it represents, money, your relationship with money goes right back again with your childhood, right? And that's why we talk about the attachment and how this attachment is actually what is creating the money wound that you have. So again, to reflect, I want you to now go deeper and ask, what was my relationship with my father like? Right? What was my relationship with my dad like? Now, did I feel safe having with him? What did I not feel that I wanted to feel? Maybe for me, I wanted to feel protected. I wanted to feel loved, whatever it is for you. Because that is also where the relationship, the root is. So identify what is your money wound. And then, of course, based on that money wound, how is this money wound actually showing up in your life every day? And I want you to now to become self-aware, right? How is this money wound showing up in your life every day? Maybe it's like, okay, I have a harder wound. Maybe you're like, I have a harder wound. And because I have a harder wound, each time that I want to make a purchase, there's this thing that is like, no, don't take action now, because if you take action, this is going to happen. So there's a fear maybe that the money isn't going to go forever, or you're never going to make it back, whatever it is. And based on that, I want you to just focus on, okay, what is the attachment that I'm having with money here? Right? What is the attachment that I am having with money as a result of this wound? So the attachment may be, oh, I'm anxiously attached to it, right? Or I am avoidantly attached to it, right? Or I am just a mixture of both. Or I am securely attached to it. So someone who is securely attached is someone who has done the inner work, which is where we want you to be, who has done the inner work to actually remove all the attachment and be grounded in the ability to receive money, to hold the money, and to use the money. So right now, then your next journal or prompt or inner work that I want you to ask is, and I want you to just reflect on this, like, what is your relationship with money like right now? Right? What is your relationship with money like right now? So we are now living from your money wound to now we're talking about your relationship with money. What is your relationship with money like right now? Okay. You can drop in the chat, yeah? You can drop in the chat, like, just to answer, what is your relationship with money right now? What is it like? Now, based on how that is like, we are going to move to the next step. So, but just let me know in the chat, what is your relationship with money like? Okay, it's hard to attract. So how does it feel? How does it feel? How do you feel with money? Like, it means you feel like money is hard, right? It feels hard. So I want you to go into the feeling of it. Like, it's hard to attract. That sound like, but let's go into the feeling of it. How does it feel? How does your relationship with money right now feel? Right? Let's go into the emotional. Does it feel still hard, or does it feel playful, or does it feel good? How does your relationship with money feel? Okay, if your relationship with money feels safe, okay, it feels safe, and then it feels hard. So it's a mixture of both, right? So here's the thing. If your relationship with money, it feels hard right now, or it feels safe, because when we say it feels safe, it means that it's flowing abundantly, it's coming in, I can use it or invest it, I can multiply it, right? Meaning that I receive, I can hold it without due judgment, my relationship is perfect, right? And then I can also multiply and amplify it, because there are three stages to the wealth, right? Or to money. And each of these wounds actually determines where you are stuck, right? So for the receiver, they will be stuck in receiving all their life. It will be so difficult for them someone who has a receiver wound, for them to actually multiply wealth, money, right? And it will be hard for them to manage money. So I want you to realize, like, let me draw this on the board to illustrate that each of these wounds like represent a phase in your financial journey, right? So the first phase is receiving, holding, and then using or hoarding. Okay, so these are the three money wounds, right? And these three money wounds, they represent where you are on your money journey. So there are three phases in the money journey if you want to create wealth or build wealth. There is the receiving part, which is like the money making. There is a holding, which is like the money management. And then there is the using, which is like the money multiplication or multiplying. So for someone who has a wound around receiving, right, you will be stuck at trying to make money all the time. And here's the thing, you would think that your problem is that you don't know, you're not worthy and all of that. Sorry, you would think that your problem is that you don't know how to manage money, you don't know how to multiply money. But you cannot even do these two when you cannot pass through this phase, right? And for someone who is stuck at holding, right? They are just the budget type of people who everything is on budget. They don't have that freedom around money. Everything is just like, you will be stuck at managing money, right? And then you will not be able to multiply. And because also there's this stuckness, money will not be able to circulate because this is a circle. Money is emotion. Everything is in circle here. So because you are also here, you'll be stuck at not receiving and all of that. So it's like, because it's a circle going around and it's in phases, when you're stuck at one place, and the money wound is showing up in that place, it will keep going around, right? So again, what I wanted to ask, come back to the feeling thing. How does your relationship with money feel right now? How do I feel around money? Just sit with that. Because here's the thing, I don't want you to go to what you think. I don't want you to go what you think. I want you to go how you feel in your body. And here's the thing. When you notice that feeling, for example, if you feel like, I feel like it's hard, I feel like it's tense, I feel like it's difficult, I feel like it's scarce, I feel like it's not enough, I feel like it's gonna leave. Whatever the feeling, like, connect with your body and like, what does it feel like? And when you have that feeling, this is your journal prompt. And we're gonna do this. The next step is gonna be asking, when was the first time I felt this way? Right? So if you have your feeling, you can put that in the comment. Now, this is the inner work, because we are not yet in the mind. We are still in the body, right? This is the emotional work. And I'm going to explain that to you on the board shortly. But it's like, we have to be in the body first before we go into the mind. So it's like, what does it feel like? If you have your feeling, okay, then this is where we have to do some deep work, right? I want you to nail down the feeling. What does your relationship with money feel like right now? So the reason why that is important is because of this, right? Now, I want you to realize that your results with money, right? And looking at your financial situation right now, your relationship with money and how things are going financially for you, your result with money is as a function of one thing, right? It's as a function of what is happening in your mind, and that is producing what is happening in your feelings and your body and all of that. So the result is as a function of your behavior, your emotional state, and your subconscious belief, right? So let's go into the brain. So this is the mind. Now, that's why I wanted us to, now, keep that feeling. Don't let go of that feeling that you now know, that you feel right now about money, right? This is the mind. Now, in the mind, we have the conscious and the subconscious, right? So conscious, subconscious. No, I'll do this S and then conscious. So in the conscious mind is the part of your mind that is programmed. Your program, like everything is so on autopilot. You're not even aware of, like 90% of what is going on there is just automated, right? The conscious part of your mind is the part of your mind that you are aware of, is your intellect, the part of you that thinks, the part of you that reasons, the part of your mind that actually have, like, it's conscious. So this is your consciousness. And because there are these two parts of the mind, we are creating this part of the mind, the subconscious, you may not already create most of your results. And because it's create like 90% of your result, the conscious part creates 5% of your result. But the problem is that most of the time, you have a result around money, which is your relationship right now, but you're focusing on your conscious mind, the things that you know, right? That's why I didn't say, what do you think about money? I said, how do you feel? Because feeling is not the thing that, like, your emotional state around something is so subconscious. It's not something that, though your feeling is conscious, because your feeling is your interpretation of your emotional state, but your emotion in itself is a subconscious process, right? So this is how, whatever your relationship, your result with money right now is, like, what do I have right now going on? Because that's the first step to change, right? We need to look at where you are, and you need to understand everything that is going on. What do I have going on? What wound do I have? What resistance do I have right now? What is the result that I have with money? Now, this is the subconscious process. We have your beliefs, we have your emotions, and we have your behavior, right? And then the conscious process is more of your thinking, your feelings, and your action. So your action is the things you do. This is more of the things that you've done once or you can do once, but this is more of things that you've repeated so many times that is subconscious. So your relationship, like how much money you are making right now in your business. Now, that is if you have a receiving wound, how much money you are receiving or you align yourself through your work, through your job to receive right now is as a function of these. If you have a holding wound, how much money you allow yourself to hold and to, now I'm not talking about greeting, because there's a difference between holding money and using it than just greeting money, like hoarding it, right? How much you're doing is as a result of these, your beliefs, and these are, remember, I'm not talking about your conscious, which is your thought, your feelings, and your action. I'm talking about belief, your emotion. It creates that behavior. So you have a behavior with money, right? How much money you are able to use without guilt, without shame, is also as a result of all of this. So your behavior with money, if your behavior with money right now is, I don't allow myself to receive, because if I have a holder wound, it means I'm not allowing myself to receive either how much I really desire or to the level that I know that I want, right? This is where my problem is. My problem is receiving, right? If that is your problem, then that is a behavior, right? And that behavior is causing you, creating some result in your life right now, right? And that result might be not enough money, so there's not enough, which is scarcity, right? Or that whatever result it is, or if it's holding, like you cannot hold, you're like, I receive so much, but I use it, my bank account is always empty, I don't have investments, all of these things. It's, again, as a result of, okay, that's a result. What is the behavior? The behavior. So I want you to realize that money wounds are behavior. Your money wound is a behavior. And that behavior is created as a result of an emotional state that you have subconsciously. And that emotional state is from some beliefs. So that's why I asked you, how does it feel? Like, what does your relationship with money feel like right now? Because imagine that money is a person, because we're going to do that visualization at the end. But it's like, if money was a person and he could talk, what would he say your relationship with him is or looks like? Because here's what I just explained earlier. Money is energy, right? And everything that has energy has life in itself. So spiritually, it's actually a being, it's vibrating, it's actually existing, and it's alive. And because it's alive, it's actually as real as another human being. So I want you to really imagine, if money could talk, if money could say things to you, if money could have a conversation with you, and money is sitting down in front of you, what would it say regarding your relationship with him or her or it or whatever, right? And and with money, how do you feel? With whatever he says, how do you feel? How do you feel around your relationship with him? And you can let me know in the comment or in the chat. It's like, how do you feel? If you feel like because money is saying, you keep pushing me away. You will not allow me to come in your life. You keep saying all of these things that you're not good enough for me. So imagine, okay, if you're a lady or you're a man, if you're a lady, imagine this, right? Like you want to attract money. Let's say your one is receiving again. And you're like, I really want to attract you. But then he comes, you have the desire to attract him, but you're always like, you feel you're not good enough around him. You feel you're hard. Okay, imagine, because when you feel like that, it's like you don't really want me. And that's what is happening, right? That's what is really happening. So with this wound, so how do you heal the wound? How do we then heal the wound? Now, this is where I want you to, first of all, be compassionate and soft around yourself. I want you to realize that the result that you have right now, we're going to talk about beliefs and all of that, but in terms of your emotional relationship with money, I want you to realize that it's just a reflection of the things that you've been through, right? The reflection of your childhood and all of that. And most of it was not your fault. What happened, what didn't happen, your attachment, your parent, all the circumstances was not your fault. But however, your interpretation of it and how it is making you feel and how it is still affecting you right now, your relationship with money is your responsibility. So you want to use compassion on yourself and be that it's okay. It's okay. There's no judgment, because here's the thing. The whole thing of this course is not to make you feel more shitty about yourself and give you an identity, yourself an identity, because that's what we are going to shift in the next module. You don't have an identity of someone who doesn't hold money. You don't have an identity of somebody who hoard money. You don't have that identity. What you need to realize is that this is simply something that happened, and I picked up this behavior, and I'm willing to change the behavior, right? I am willing to change this behavior into a behavior that is more empowering and that is more sustainable for my growth and the journey and the life that I want to be. So be soft on yourself. This is no judgment, and it's okay that you have that. That is just to show you the area that you need to improve on. And that has been the goal of this. So with the receiving money wound, is not like, okay, you carry this identity, because another thing is that you can now start creating belief that are actually going to limit you because now you have this information. No, you are not someone who hoard that, or you're not someone who doesn't receive, or you are not someone who does. So that is not your identity. That is simply a behavior, and your behavior doesn't define you. It's simply something that you can work on, right? So that is the first thing. Compassion on yourself. We use compassion. The second thing, again, is curiosity. When was the first time I felt like this? Remember, come back to the emotion, because I want you to realize that we want to focus on the emotion first. When was the first time I felt like money was hard? And look, or not just money. When was the first time I felt like life is hard? Or why am I not allowing myself to receive? Why am I holding this? So question it. Question that. Get curious. Why am I not allowing myself to receive? Why am I hoarding money? Why am I doing this? And here's the thing. Something is going to come out. Our emotion is going to come up there. There's subconscious fear. So I was like, what is the fear? Right? What is the fear that I have? Some of you is going to be, I'm not allowing myself to receive more money or to show up in my business, because that's a way. For someone who has a receiver wound, you will not maybe show up on your business. You will not ask for the sale. You will not charge higher. For someone who has the harder wound, you will not be able to invest. You will not be able to do big things like multiply the money. So it shows up differently. But it's like, why am I not? What is actually blocking me from receiving money? Ask yourself that question. Why? Why? Because that's now the curiosity, right? So step one is the compassion. The compassion is that's not your identity. Be nice on yourself. Know that whatever happened that is affecting you now is not your fault. The step two is this thing about curiosity. Why? Why? But why do I hoard money? Why? And in order to know the why, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Because there's a fear. Or what am I afraid is going to happen? If maybe you know that your wound is hoarding and you are like, I'm going to use money. And if I maybe use this money or circulate this money or use this money to buy and all of that, then this will happen. Or what will happen? Or if I allow myself to receive more money, oh my God, I cannot even allow myself because I'm not good enough, or, oh, I'm not worthy, or nobody even loves me because they are not going to see my thing and they're not going to buy, like things like that. So when you identify the fear, you ask yourself, when was the first time I felt this fear? When was the first time in my life I felt this fear? So all of these inner work, I'm going to put on the portal, but this is where your transformation is going to be. When was the first time I felt this fear? And it might take you to your childhood, to some things that you think that, oh, doesn't really matter. For example, if you're like a holder or a receiver, you're like, okay, I'm not allowing myself to receive. But why am I not allowing myself to receive the money I know that I can't? Okay, because, well, I don't know, maybe in my job or in my business, I don't know enough. Okay. If you don't, or nobody is going to pay me, or I'm not good enough, or nobody's going to love what I have to give. Okay. If nobody's going to love what you're going to give, well, when was the first time you felt like you were not loved or you were not lovable? Because that is going to reveal to you the emotion. So the emotion there is like, I'm not lovable. And you're carrying that subconsciously in your body and in your energetic body every day. So it's like, if I'm not lovable, when was the first time? Think about it. It could be and just reflect. This is why you have to sit down to journal. That's where the transformation happened. And it could be when you were young, your mom didn't pick you up from school, or your friends bully you in school, or anything that happened. It could not even be anything negative. It could still be like you were playing with your friends and then somebody chose another play partner other than you. It could be anything like that. But whatever in that happened, I want you to do the next thing, right? And the next thing that you're going to do after you kind of like, you're curious and you get to the root of it, it's like you try to kind of like really remember the experience, right? And just sit with it. And it's almost like relive the experience and just allow yourself to sit in the emotion of it and notice how you feel in your body. And literally go back in time in your mind, because you can, in your mind, literally try to go back in time and notice, okay, how am I feeling? Right? And try to relieve the experience. And in that mood, from that place, you can now ask yourself the next thing, which is where the next session is going to be about. From that experience, what were the beliefs that you created around yourself as a way to protect yourself from the future? So it's like, from this experience, what did I decide about myself? What did I decide about my life? Right? What did I decide? And the reason why you want to say, what did you decide, is because we want you to realize that you are the one who created it. The circumstance in itself was neutral, right? So write down all the things that you decided in that experience. Maybe you decided that nobody was going to love you, all of that thing. This is not good enough for me. Nobody is going to ever want what I have to offer. I'm always the last, whatever it is. Or money is, people always leave me, right? Because the fear of people who always leave me will show up in your life. We're like, okay, if I hold money, is always going to leave. So let me use it before it even comes in. Or before, because if I don't use it, it's going to leave. So that is how you do that. And then after that, you realize that when you realize all the things that you decided about yourself, that is now when we're going to take off the next session, right? Where it's like really like what to do with this thing now. Because now we're going to be creating a new result for yourself, right? Your new relationship with money, your new experience with money, and all of that. So before we get into like the quick meditation session, to look at your relationship with money now, and then the next session where we're going to be going into the belief and how to like really shift your identity around that and let go of any of these things that we talked about today. That will be in our next session. So for now, just ask your questions, and then I'm going to lead the guided activation just to bring and resolve this emotional thing with money. Okay. All right. So if you have any question, you can unmute and ask.
May I ask?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I never thought money would be so the way they explain it. Because my main issue is abandonment going up to very far. But I never met it with my money stories or my money need. But then it makes sense. I want to get my activities. It makes sense that why is my into my experiences started to see money because I have so many issues with being loved by them, being a very loving love. So for this book, I made the idea that after this 8 weeks, I'm learning a lot of my money stories and playing saving also contributed to my money stories. I always want to play things safely.
Okay.
My mother was making somewhere else. I was doing up with my own sister, so only children inside the home. To be safe, or to try to play safe every time. So that contributed a lot on my money stories. So I wanted to know how do our partners who money needs affect us.
Okay.
How does my husband's this money needs affecting me?
Okay. So what happens is that another person, what you want to understand is that another person, because this is what creates everything in your life, right? Everything in your own life. Now, another person, this is what happened. Another person's, remember, okay, the way we take in information is through our conscious mind, right, into our subconscious. So it goes into our conscious mind and goes into our subconscious, unless we are in that young age state where our brainwave is in the theta brainwave state, where everything just goes directly into the subconscious without filter, right? But as an adult, another person's behavior, right? This is yours and he has his own, right? Let's say he has his own behavior, beliefs, behavior, and emotions and behavior, right? So behaviors are his habits, right? And these actions. What happened is that I want you to first of all realize is that this person is a different entity from you. He is not you creating your result. What is really happening is that when he does something, when he has a certain behavior, you choose with your consciousness to interpret it in a certain way and make meaning of it. So it's your interpretation of what he does or his relationship that actually affects your behavior. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's not really what he's doing, it's your interpretation of it, the meaning you give to it that determine your own beliefs around it. So what happens is that if he has the same kind of relationship with money, and he give that and here's the thing about our thoughts is that most of the time our thoughts comes from our thoughts form our belief through repetition, through the process of repetition. So when a thought is repeated so many times, it forms a belief, right? That's one way beliefs are formed also. So beliefs are formed in theta brainwave state, repetition, and emotional experiences, right? So if he says something, or if his behavior with money is not enough, or it's like a receiver's wound, if you already believe in your subconscious that is right because it's what you know, then it's going to strengthen your relationship with money in that area. But if you have a different wound, right? Let's say your husband has. So what I'm saying here, this example is in case you both have the same wound. So when you have the same wound, it's going to strengthen that wound to go even deeper because now you also have confirmation from the outside. But if he has a different wound, what is going to happen is that you might also start, because you're not conscious, and because this process is, remember, this is an autopilot thing, because you're not conscious, you're going to absorb his wound, and before you realize, you start having his wound plus your wound. rarely, unless you're conscious and aware, would you do the work to heal your own wound and actually become conscious. Because here's the thing, when you're not conscious, you're gonna absorb and you're gonna think that it's just me. It's just happening. It's just me. It's the way I am. It's like the habit of in yourself. Like, it's just me. I cannot change. It's just my thing. Or he's like, it's just me. So when you are conscious, you can choose and realize that, hey, I am deciding, I'm creating my own result, my own relationship with money, right? And now I'm talking about personal relationship. Now, when it comes to maybe like joining finances, making money decision, and all of that, that's a whole different conversation. But remember, we're talking about money wound. So your partner's money wound is gonna either strengthen when you're unconscious, when you've not done this work, is either gonna strengthen your belief, or it's actually gonna your wound, or it's actually gonna create another wound that you did not even have. For most people that I've seen. At the end of the day, you might have all three wounds when all the wounds, it's like you can't receive, you can't hold, and you are hoarding. It's like all the thing. And most of the time, again, you see that is because there's someone there strengthening. For example, maybe in a relationship with somebody who has a very scarcity mindset. For me, I have never been someone who has a problem receiving. It's instead the other way around. I'm instead the person who, my biggest wound, my deepest wound was the holding wound. I will not be able to hold my, if it comes in that day, I need to spend it that day. Like, I need to go do things, you see? So it's like, oof, no. It's so uncomfortable. So, and then meeting someone who actually has a different wound, which is, I've met someone who has a harder wound, meaning that when they have money, they grip on it. Every little thing they want to buy, they want to check and calculate and subtract, and I'm like, or meeting another person who's like, I'm not good, I can't receive money, I don't know enough, I'm not, all these things. What I do in that moment, right? Before, it used to trigger me because it's like, gosh, like, but then I didn't realize I was in my own wounding. It was actually my own wounding that was being triggered by their wounding, because it was a flip side. Okay, because that's the thing when you're in relationship with people. So your family, your friends, they are in the flip side. For example, the harder wound and the holder wound are on the flip side. They cannot, like, it's difficult, because one person will want to grip it and never let it go, and one person will be like, nope, it passes through my finger just like that, like it has to go now. So what happens is that you when you start doing your inner work, the way you lead through this is you compassionately understand that, okay, I'm working on me, like, and I'm working on him, and he has had his own experiences in programming, and that's okay. But I know what I believe, and I'm not going to let what he does or what he says stop me. I'm not going to make him wrong, but I'm not going to agree with him. So it's like, I'm not going to judge him for his behavior, like, because I know where this is coming from, you're aware, but I'm not going to let that also be my truth, because it's not my truth. Maybe you're making financial decision. Maybe someone is a hoarder. He's like, he believes in saving every piece of it, like calculating everything. And you're like, you're this free feminine, like you're just like, I just want to use the money and just love it. In that moment, it's like, okay, I understand that you're saving. I understand that it's like, I understand that you're a hoarder and you don't feel safe without money. But me, I do feel safe. So I'm not going to make you wrong. Of course, do that. It's actually good for me or for us. Because here's the thing I want you to realize. At times, when the person has a flip side of our wound, if we actually look at it the right way, it may actually inspire us. So let's take the hoarder and the holder. The holder, we just spill money anyhow. The hoarder will stick to it and never let it go. So if you start doing inner work and your partner is a hoarder, what you need to do is that instead of making him wrong for not saving enough, for not using enough money, for not doing this, try to be like, okay, this is his way, but this is still my way, I believe. And maybe there's something I need to learn. I'm not taking everything, but what is the one thing that I might learn? So that's where you can also grow. Amazing. Then change your life. Why not creating conflict? Okay, so that is it. Today,